So there's only one phrase that I have to say, and that is another one, another one. So Anthropic Claude launched another model, and that is Opus 4.5. This is just 1 week after Google launched Gemini 3, and that completely took the AI large language model space by storm. And that was highly anticipated. Gemini was highly anticipated, and it blew most of the benchmarks that we've seen thus far out the water. But Opus 4.5 has taken it to yet another level within a week of Gemini 3 launching. It must be stressful being at the helm of these large infrastructure companies, because the kind of competition that is existing within these companies right now, just one after the other, is phenomenal. In this video, I want to go through Gemini 3 versus Opus 4.5, how they compare, what the benchmarks look like for the two models, and what the vibe check is for the models as well. Because the benchmarks can give you a sense of what's going on from a numeric and a statistical standpoint, but it's really when you actually get into these models and start using them for your own workflows while you're building, that it gives you a true sense of what is really happening, and how they really perform. So just getting right into it. Now, Gemini 3, mind you, most of these benchmarks here beat the previous models that had launched. That includes the previous Claude Opus 4.1, that includes Sonnet 3.5, that includes GPT-5. However, the one benchmark that Gemini 3 will actually underperform relative to even the previous model of Anthropic Claude was the SWE-bench. So SWE-bench was at 76.2%, whereas Sonnet 3.5, I believe, was at 77%. And so that was actually an area where Gemini 3 was lagging. But the other benchmarks kind of made up for all of that. And in my experience thus far, coding with Gemini has been a complete pleasure. I was in the midst of working on a build when Opus 4.5 launched, and this has a SWE-bench of 80.9%. Now, I don't want to get so much into the nitty gritty of these numbers and percentages. They may not mean all that much to you. But one thing that I do want to point out is the one stark difference between the two is really the fact that Gemini 3, it's the multimodal capabilities that make it such a superb model. So the fact that you can process video with Gemini 3, you can upload hours worth of video and it'll give you back an analysis. You can upload video and it can give you an assessment. And so that opens up the door for so many different kinds of applications that can now be built, so many different kinds of scenarios that haven't existed up until now. And for me personally, with video, that is a use case that I've been working through for the last year and a half. And overnight, having Gemini 3 with that capability makes things a lot easier. On top of the fact that within the same week, they also launched, Google that is launched Nano Banana, which is their latest image model, Nano Banana Pro. And when you combine that with the Gemini model, it's kind of just light years ahead of what we had seen. But on the Claude side, Claude Opus, again, the real mainstay for it is its ability to code exceptionally well. Both Gemini and Claude have great user interfaces, code very good user interfaces. Claude, I would say the difference is that it moves faster, significantly faster than it has in the past. Its ability to plan out tasks is exceptional. And thus far, if I'm being completely honest, I'm still in the midst of Gemini 3 and Opus 4.5 being able to do everything that I wasn't able to do before. So they're both they're both really great models, and I haven't yet gotten to some of the roadblocks that may actually come as I get sort of more into uh, the nitty gritty of things. But from what people have been saying online on X, slash Twitter, across social media, is that with Claude Opus, you feel like you can vibe code on and on and on. It's been explained to be the first model where you're not held back by the fact that you are vibe coding, or don't necessarily know all the code that's going into what you are building. And that now takes the concept of vibe coding to the next level, to where now you can um, you can have not only a more enjoyable experience, but now it's becoming a truer kind of craft. And so, with that said, I, have been digging into projects, and something that I wasn't able to work on before, or that I kept putting sort of on the back burner just due to the amount of time it was taking up, that now I've brought out of the woodworks, is something called I've called it the Podcrafter. So this right here, this is actually a platform that is inspired by something I was doing for a client. So there's a client of mine who I've done these podcasts, AI podcasts for, leveraging specifically Notebook LM, and I'll edit it, put it into a CapCut, and take the AI generated podcast, and mix it together to create a cohesive audio. With Gemini 3 and Opus 4.5, I was able to now put together this app where it basically automates the process now. So you can upload an article to here. You can choose different numbers of speakers, up to 4 speakers. You can upload an intro video and intro audio and an outro audio. It'll generate the podcast, and then you can play the podcast and download it so that you can have that final copy. And so this is now something that I can either use to basically automate away what I was doing manually, or I could just even give it to that client to use, for their own, so that they can continue to receive what they were asking for. And this is an example of something that I've actually worked on multiple times, but was never able to fully get 100% of the way there due to the technical limitations. Now, something else I've been working on is a platform called AgentOS. So you see here, this blue logo, it's Agent. I've created both front end and back end for it. I'm going to sign in so you can see it. And basically, this is what I'm going to be using to grow my personal and business brand. It kind of mirrors how I already use social media currently, and what I focus on. So I focus on YouTube and TikTok specifically, and I also do a lot with transcripts that I get. So I may upload an SRT file to YouTube in order to help with search engine optimization. And then what I have here is actually a social media management aspect, where I've connected my mobile app Drop Card to here. So I've connected it to Instagram, and I have a content calendar here as well, where you can actually schedule your posts for your social media accounts. And so this is something that I'm going to be building out over time. And I'm actually doing this mostly because I want to build this out for people who are getting into this space. So if you're someone who has an app idea specifically, but any sort of digital product, and you're looking to build your brand, then you can not only build out your personal brand in this kind of way, but you can also build out your business brand by leveraging tools like this, where you connect your social media account and you put your posts out there. And over time, this will continue to grow in its functionality. We'll have the analytics, and we'll have other aspects to it. And there will also be a direct integration with the mobile app that I built, Drop Card. And so if you would like the code base for this to fork it or to clone it and make your own version of Agent OS, I highly encourage you to join the Vibe Code Pioneers. I'll have it with this area where you can clone the code base, you can create your own Agent OS or version of it, kind of customize your version of it. And it's something that you can use to grow your brand, or you can decide to sell it either to another business or personal brand, or on a consumer level for people, because you have these social media management platforms that are out here, right? But with a platform like this, we're talking social media management, but we're talking about also curated ways of building brand as well. And just the time that we're living in, you're able to craft software in a similar way to how you would actually craft content. That's the era that we are going into. And so to even to speak further on this, Agent OS is inspired by this idea of sort of like an agentic operating system. So if you take this YouTube asset area, for example, when you upload a video to here, it will actually call the YouTube API, and it will give you the search data for YouTube. So if you have a video around, I did a video, for example, around nano banana, it'll look at what people are searching for on YouTube in that sort of vein, and then it'll give you the phrases and integrate it into what the timestamps are created for you are, title, tags, description. And so it gives you back SEO optimized content for your YouTube. And then each of these content tools are sort of curated to what my workflows currently are. But again, if you were to fork the code base, you can kind of customize it, and you can use this with your clients, or you can use this on a consumer level to sell us a subscription, or use this for yourself as well. I truly believe that we are moving further into the time where it's becoming easier and easier to build apps, and this is a more general sort of system. But maybe you are you have a fitness brand. Think about what it would look like to have a fitness version of an Agent OS. Maybe you are a beauty or a skincare brand. Think about what it would look like to have content tools that maybe are more specific to beauty, with an aesthetic that's more specific to beauty. That's the direction something like this can go in. And this is the future of what it looks like to build in the creator economy. And me personally, I'm going to be using this to build my personal brand, and also using this to build up my app drop card that I'm been kind of gearing up to market further. So both this Agent OS and also that Podcrafter I showed you, I've built in Antigravity. So Antigravity, if you saw a previous video that I did, you'll know that this is Google's agentic IDE. You can run agents within here. It actually gives you free access to Gemini 3. However, they do rate limit you after a couple of hours. Has a plan mode, has browser use, and it's been a lot of fun using this platform. I've also used Cursor for this. Once they started rate limiting me, I began using, I continued on within Cursor. And then once I finished where I'm currently at with that content studio, the Agent OS, I started working on the podcast generator. And so I've had a lot of time to use Opus 4.5 and to use Gemini 3. And so my conclusion really is that in regard to Gemini, it gives you that multimodal sort of experience. And then in regard to Opus, is more so just like it's like a senior engineer, right? It goes above and beyond what previous models have. I think one other great thing about Google is also, or with Gemini 3, is the fact that you're in the Google ecosystem. And so it's easy now when you're connecting to Firebase, and then you're connecting to Gemini. And there are also new APIs that have gotten released, such as Gemini file search, where you can now create a RAG app, retrieval augmented generation, where you can create these file stores of just information, where you can have now these specific tailored kinds of sort of chat apps that may have been a lot difficult to build before, for that retrieval to be accurate. You can also have temporary storage of videos up to 48 hours with another API, the file transfer API, where you can store video, long form video, large video files for up to 48 hours. And that's something that didn't exist before. So even just deploying the whether it was the Podcrafter or whether it was the agent to get started with it, it was a lot less painstaking than those kind of things have been in the past. One other one other project I will mention as well that I can pull up is this right here called we could just call it API docs. And so something that I've just noticed can be a little bit of a challenge sometimes is just understanding what a platform's API can do. So within this AgentOS platform, I'm using a social media management API as a part of it. It's called Get Late, and allows you to actually embed social media uploading and posting and even like clipping and a bunch of different things into your own applications. And so I was able to just literally paste the API docs to this app that I built. It'll analyze the documentation, so if I were to, like, for example, click on analyze documentation, it'll then bring you back all the different things that the API can do. And that now simplifies the process of determining how to best use the APIs. And you can also chat with it, right? So it'll give you an overview, it'll give you use cases, right? It'll give you the endpoints that you need to use most. And then you can ask questions, right? Like, how do you use this API? You could talk about what you're looking to do with it, and it'll give you answers back for it. All of these, and this is the third sort of build out I'm showing you in this video, because you can now build at a rate that just is like was inconceivable 2 weeks ago. And if you've been using these tools and if you've been kind of digging deep and just seeing what the possibilities are, the possibilities are now becoming realities. Most of these build outs would have taken significantly longer and more time. And now everything is just, all timelines have been accelerated. So this is another one. I haven't even deployed this yet, but just the fact that you can have such quality applications and with interfaces that are also quality and have an aesthetic that you resonate with. It's I can't really overstate the just the gravity of this. So I can't really see what comes after this. I mean, maybe OpenAI decides to drop a model next week or something, right? Maybe I believe Gemini 3 Flash is coming. But all the tools you need in order to take an idea and bring it to life are present, are available, and it's really a matter of having that agency and taking the steps to do it. Gemini 3 and Opus 4.5 are solid models. You don't need to choose between any of them. You can use any and or all of them. The cost structure has been adjusted. Opus 4.5 is I think 4 times cheaper than the Opus 4.1 was, and it's about 2 to 3 times more expensive than Gemini 3, but it's still much cheaper than it was before. And for the first 2 weeks within Cursor specifically, you can use Opus 4.5 at the same rate that Sonnet, that you can use Sonnet 4.5 in for the same cost. And so that's good as well. So that's what I want to show you today, kind of just like a comparison between Gemini 3 and Opus 4.5 and just some of the things that I've been building. And again, the AgentOS, you'll be able to find that within Vibe Code Pioneers as we all grow our brands and take what we're doing to the next level and show what is really capable in this space. So hope you join me on this journey. But other than that, Gemini 3, Opus 4.5, it's a very exciting time. I'll see you guys on the next one.